And I think that's a great segue, because I think that'll be the perfect segue to the close. One of the things as a planning committee, you can tell we had a robust set of conversations as a planning committee based on the volume of content and all of you in the room. And we have outgrown, or we outgrew all of our time in each of our sessions, which I think is a great indication of this is a ripe issue for action. But one of the very issues that we didn't put on the table, you felt like we put every single issue on the table. I know you're looking like, wow, what didn't we discuss? But one of them was social services, social determinants, things beyond the healthcare system. Our sense of that was we thought it would come up naturally during the conversation, and it did. And that it required a full, this was not a 5-minute or 10-minute, let's have a conversation of what are the boundaries of the healthcare system, when does the healthcare system end and the rest of the world begin, and just thinking through some of that. So we as a planning committee have talked about it, and we thought that's a key piece of the third workshop in terms of we're not saying that's complete by any stretch of the imagination, and we're glad that it came up in this context. But what I'll do is just thank everyone, and I'm going to turn to Michael McGinnis, who can provide a closeout, as he does a wonderful job of doing. But just thank you all for your participation, the committee, the speakers. This has been an incredibly rich day. And with that, I'll turn it to Michael on closing us out.
Well, let me thank all of you, and I'll try to be brief. And I apologize to our patient participants who we really wanted to hear from again, but invite you and urge you to provide follow-on comments. In the course of this very rich day of conversations, I jotted down some notes into 3 general buckets. The bucket of reality, the bucket of implications, and the bucket of principles. I'm not going to go through all the things I wrote down, because you can imagine how fulsome a set of observations might be delivered as a result of the conversations here. But on the reality front, I'll just flag one thing, and that was what we heard first from Mrs. Jackson. When she said, we are walking the tightrope without expertise or a safety net. That pretty much says it all for so many people in these circumstances. On the implications front, I'll give the representative word to Jerry Anderson, who noted that if you are high need and low income, your health spending is 3 times your income. That also says a lot. And again, there are many variations on these themes in both of those domains. With respect to the principles, and these are very high level, which don't and can't do justice to the textured, nuanced, and very insightful observations throughout the day. But I'll mention 4 principles that I heard, in effect, implicit in Melinda's comments about the taxonomy and the models involved. They're simultaneity, simplicity, applicability, and adaptability. Simultaneity refers to the need to deal, regardless of the circumstance, with 3 issues in almost every high-need patient: medical care, behavioral health, and social services. Those are the starting points that we heard time and time again that have to be engaged as we're developing models and as we're developing our taxonomy. Simplicity, we also heard, was vitally important. Because of the obvious complexity of these issues, it's important that we bear in mind the functional reality of the need to ensure that the taxonomy and the models that spring from them are as simply stated as they can be. With respect to applicability, in essence, there were a number of filters that I heard expressed throughout the course of the day, sort of the what does the typology say about X, Y, or Z? And they include, first, what does the typology say about how we understand and overlay functional status of the individual involved? How can we ensure that the models we're applying get very directly to the functional capacity. Secondly, the actionable nature of those models. Are they implicitly able to be acted upon in a practical fashion? Thirdly, are they teamable? Are we, by virtue of the way we characterize these issues and their solutions, fostering the practical application of a team approach? And finally, are they affordable? How do they match up against our current payment systems, and what do we have to do with respect to our payment systems in order to make sure that they can be effectively engaged? The fourth principle that I heard, and I think we all heard, was that of adaptability. The need for continuous assessment of each individual, which gets to the issue of metrics, measures, and constant assessment, because people change. Their condition changes. We heard about the importance of being able to adapt when people's conditions as high-need patients may change from year to year. So it's very important that the model that we tee up has an inherent element of continuous assessment, flexibility, and adaptability. I indicated that my brief summary was going to be inadequate. It clearly was. But the framework that I think you're beginning to pull together, I'm very convinced, from what I've heard, is going to do a great deal to advance the frontiers of our understanding and our ability to engage these issues. And so I want to, again, thank every one of you for your contributions today. Thanks obviously to the Planning Committee and especially to Peter Long, our chair, and to the staff who've been working on the front line, Katie Lewis-Epton, Carrie Wolf, Minna Bakhter, and Roisin Bertie. And if we can give a parting round of applause to each of them, thank you. Safe travels home, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the third meeting.